Okay, let me ask you something. Picture a typical corporate boardroom. You know the scene.
Oh, I know it well.
You've got the CEO at one end, very domineering, loud, laser-focused on the bottom line.
Checking their watch every 30 seconds.
Exactly. And then down at the other end, you have maybe the HR director, super empathetic, chatty, making sure everyone's got water.
Asking about your weekend.
Yeah.
Two totally distinct personalities.
You'd never confuse them. Now, what if they both go home, log into the same video game? The lazy assumption is, well, the CEO is the aggressive raid leader shouting orders.
And the HR director is the healer, chatting in the guild lobby.
Right. We just assume our gaming style is a digital twin of our work style.
Or the flip side of that is that it's total escapism.
Yeah.
That the quiet accountant becomes this, raging barbarian because they can't do that in real life. The whole Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Right. But what if both of those are just too simple? What if the reality is, frankly, a lot more interesting?
It usually is.
Well, today we are deep diving into some research that claims to have cracked this code. It's called the Player Personality Profile Grid, or the PPP grid, from a paper by Julian Alvarez and Thierry Lafouge.
And this is not some, which Mario character are you quiz.
No.
This is a serious attempt to map real-world psychological traits, who you are, onto gaming motivations, so how you play. And the goal is actually predictive.
Predictive. You mean they want to guess what game I'll like before I even pick up a controller?
That's the idea. The researchers are looking at this from an educational angle. Serious games, using games for corporate training, for school. They're huge right now.
But they fail a lot.
They fail a lot.
Yeah.
And the argument here is they fail because we don't know who's in the room. So they wanted to build a grid where a teacher could look at a student's personality and predict with some accuracy what game mechanic will make them tick.
And which ones will make them just check out. That's high stakes. But as we dug into this paper, the data showed something, weirder. This incredible link between aging, gender, and gaming that they call the mirror image theory.
It's fascinating. It suggests men and women literally evolve in opposite directions as they get older.
It totally upends the idea of the gamer as some static identity.
Right.
Okay, so to get this, we first have to understand the two tools they kind of smash together here. It's like a weird crossover between corporate HR and 90s MMO culture.
It really is, yeah. To build their grid, they needed a language for the real world and a language for the game world.
Okay, let's start with the real world. They use the DISC model. I feel like anyone who's worked in a big office has been forced to take this at some point.
It's the corporate standard, yeah. For better or worse, it breaks behavior down into 4 colors, basically, on 2 axes. Are you extroverted or introverted? And are you task-oriented or people-oriented?
Let's run through them, because everything else hangs on these 4 types.
Yep.
First, the Ds, the Reds.
Dominance. These are your extroverted, task-oriented people. Very decisive, competitive, results-driven. In an office, they're the ones saying, I don't care how, just get it done by 5.
They see the world as something to be conquered.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's red. Then you have the IS, the yellows.
Influence. Still extroverted, but now people-oriented. These are the talkers, the persuaders. They value enthusiasm, collaboration. They're the social glue.
If you hear laughter in the break room, a yellow is probably in there.
That's right. Then you cross over into introversion. The SS or the greens.
Steadiness.
Right. Introverted and people-oriented. These are the listeners. They value consistency, loyalty. They hate sudden change. They're the peacemakers who clean up the mess the Reds make.
And finally, the CS, the blues.
Conscientiousness. Introverted and task-oriented. Your analysts, your accountants, they love rules, accuracy, logic. Their absolute nightmare is being wrong.
So you have the boss, the talker, the listener, and the analyst. Red, yellow, green, blue.
That's the real-world side.
And they tried to map this onto the Bartle taxonomy of gamers.
Which is legendary in game design. Richard Bartle came up with this way back in the text-based MUDs.
Yeah.
Pre-World of Warcraft.
Right.
And he just noticed people weren't all playing for the same reason. He split them into 4 types.
And this is where everyone starts nodding because they recognize themselves. First up, the killers.
The name is, well, aggressive, but it fits. They want to act on other players. They need to win by defeating someone else. The fun is in the domination.
Then the socializers.
For them, the game is just a chat room with better graphics, the quests and the fighting. It's all just background noise for interacting with people.
They want to form guilds, make friends.
Right. If the server is empty, they log off.
Next, the explorers.
These are the people who want to figure out how the world works. They don't care about points. They care about the map. They're looking for glitches, Easter eggs.
They're the ones jumping against a wall for an hour to see if they can break through it.
Exactly. They interact with the world, not the people. And last, you have the achievers.
The completionists.
Yes. They want the badge, the 100% completion stat. The system needs to tell them they've mastered it. They're playing for the status of done.
So the hypothesis of this paper seems almost too simple. Like, if I'm a red dominant person in my job, I'm a killer in the game, it has to be right.
It feels intuitive.
And if I'm a blue rule follower, I must be an achiever, a one-to-one match.
That was the bet. Could we just overlay these two models and see a perfect fit? So they surveyed over 1,000 people, students, teachers, health professionals, and asked them to self-identify their disky type and their gamer type.
And did the map fit? Or is it messier?
It fit. Mostly. There were 3 really strong connections, but there was one glaring hole.
Okay, let's start with what worked. What was the strongest match?
The yellows.
Yep.
The influential types. 51% of people who said they were influential also said they were socializers in games.
Wow. 51%. That makes a ton of sense, though. If you get your energy from talking and persuading, you're not going to just turn that off. You'll be in the global chat, setting up the Discord.
The medium changes, but the drive communication, it stays the same. The second big match was the reds, the dominant types.
Let me guess. The killers.
You got it. About 31% of reds identified as killers. Both are about acting on others. You dominate the meeting, you dominate the match.
And what about the blues, the meticulous rule-following analysts?
They lined up with achievers, some 4%. It's the grind mindset. A conscientious person loves structure, clear metrics for success.
A checklist.
Video games are perfect for that. Collect 10 wolf pelts. It's a checklist, and blues love checklists.
So red is killer, yellow is socializer, blue is achiever. You said there was a hole. Who's left?
The greens, the steady profile. The hypothesis was that these empathetic, stable people would be explorers.
Why explorers? That seems like a bit of a stretch to me.
Well, the logic was based on the axis. Both are supposedly introverted and focused on the world or people around them. But the data just didn't back it up at all. No significant correlation.
Why do you think that broke?
I think it's a misunderstanding of what a game explorer really is. A green person values stability in people. An explorer values systems and novelty. Just because you're quiet doesn't mean you want to map a dungeon. A green person might actually prefer being a quiet socializer, healing the team.
So the grid tried to force a connection that wasn't really there.
Exactly.
Okay, so personality is a huge predictor, but it's not the only thing. And this is where the study gets really interesting. They looked at the volume of play. Does playing a little versus playing a lot change who you are in the game?
This is the classic hardcore versus casual divide. They split the group into small players, that's 0 to 4 hours a week, and big players, which is more than 4.
I have to pause. 4 hours a week is a big player. I think some of our listeners do that on a Tuesday night.
I know. By today's standards, it's a very low bar. But for this study, which had a lot of non-gamers in it, that was the line. And even with that low bar, the results were really striking.
So what happens when you cross that 4-hour line?
Your entire motivation shifts. If you play less than 4 hours a week, you are way more likely to be a socializer.
Right, because it's a pastime. You're just popping in to say hi to friends, play a couple of rounds, and then you're out. It's like going to a cafe.
Perfectly put. But if you play more than 4 hours, the socializer profile drops off a cliff. And you become much more likely to be an achiever.
Whoa, that's a fascinating insight. The more time you invest in a game, the less it's about the people and the more it becomes like a job.
Job is the right word. Hardcore gaming is about optimization, min-maxing. You stop chatting because chatting is inefficient. The researchers even call this an antagonistic profile. You literally flip from social to achievement based on your time investment.
So I could be a yeller social butterfly, but if I get hooked on an MMO and start playing 20 hours a week, I might just mutate into a blue achiever to keep up.
The environment overrides the personality. The game's mechanics demand achievement, so you adapt. You stop seeing the player next to you as a friend and start seeing them as a resource to get your loot.
Okay, so time changes us. But the biggest curveball, the part I highlighted 3 times, was the effect of age and gender. This is the mirror image theory.
This is the aha moment of the whole study. When they sliced the data by age and gender, they found these 2 completely different paths for men and for women.
Okay, let's map the male path first. Young guys, 18 to 24.
No surprise here. Heavily skewed towards the killer profile. 44%.
Young men want to compete. They want PvP. It's the classic lobby trash talker stereotype.
It's biological, it's cultural, sure. But watch what happens as they get older. As men move past 35, that killer instinct just evaporates. And they don't become achievers or socializers. They shift pretty significantly toward the explorer profile.
That is so specific. They stop wanting to beat other players, and they start wanting to understand the world itself.
Think of the old stereotype of the dad with a model train set in the basement. He's not racing them. He's building a system, figuring out how the switches work. Men move from acting on the game to interacting with the content. It's a mellowing, but it's also an intellectualizing.
So men go from killer to explorer. What about women?
Women start in a totally different place. In the younger brackets, 18 to 34, women are statistically more likely to be achievers.
That's interesting, not socializers.
No, and that really defies the stereotype. We always hear that girls just like the social part, but the data here says young women in games are task-oriented. They want to complete the objectives, get the stars.
They're focused on competence, but then they age.
And here's the mirror. As women move over 25, they shift towards the socializer profile.
They go the other way.
They move from acting on the game, beating the objectives, to interacting with the people.
This is the mirror image.
It's a giant X on the graph. Men start top left as killers and slide down to bottom right as explorers. Women start top right as achievers and slide down to bottom left as socializers. They literally cross paths in their 30s.
That is profound. It suggests that as men mature, they get more interested in systems and things, and as women mature, they get more interested in people and connections.
At least in the gaming context, yeah. And we should remember this is all self-reported. It could be that older women just feel more comfortable admitting they play for social reasons, or that older men are just tired of toxic competition and want to be left alone to explore the map.
It really does paint a picture of life stages. The young man proving himself against others, the older man wanting to understand the world, the young woman proving she can master a task, the older woman wanting to build a community.
It's a beautiful symmetry. And it explains why a game that's perfect for a 20-year-old guy is often unplayable for a 50-year-old woman, and vice versa. They're looking for fundamentally different experiences.
So if we bring this back to the original goal helping teachers, this grid is actually a warning label. You can't just treat a classroom of gamers as one single group.
Absolutely not. And that's where so much of gamification goes wrong. A company thinks, oh, we'll add a leaderboard and points. They treat everyone like a killer-achiever hybrid.
Let's run a simulation. Scenario A. I have a sales team to train. Mostly young men, early 20s. They're red personalities. They play a few hours of competitive games on the weekends.
Okay, let's plug it in. Young, male, red, low volume. The grid is screaming killer.
So how do I train them? What's the strategy?
You have to lean into conflict. Use leaderboards. Make the rankings public. Create adversity. Make them beat a rival team. If you try to make them do a cooperative puzzle, they will just check out. They need to win.
Okay. Scenario B. A group of mid-career admins. Mostly women, over 40. They play a lot of mobile puzzle games, like 10 hours a week. And they're yellow personalities.
Ooh, that's tricky. High volume pushes them toward achiever, but their age and personality push them toward socializer. The grid would predict a mix. Socializing achievers.
So no deathmatch.
Deathmatch is totally out. A cutthroat leaderboard would probably make them quit. You want collaborative goals. If we all reach this target, we unlock a group reward. Or negotiation games where the main mechanic is talking. You leverage the social to satisfy the achiever.
It's all about matching the mechanic to the motivation. Get it wrong, and the game just feels like more work.
Or worse, a punishment. Imagine forcing an explorer who just wants to poke around and learn the software to compete in a street run against a killer. The explorer will quit, not because they can't do it, but because they hate the why.
The gamer label is totally useless without context. It's like saying someone is a reader. Do they read romance novels or technical manuals? Very different things.
And the biggest takeaway here is that the label isn't static. The gamer in the mirror is always changing. It's this fluid mix of your personality, your age, your gender, your habits. You're not the same player you were 10 years ago.
It makes you look at your own gaming history so differently. I remember being 16. All I wanted was to be top of the scoreboard. My KD ratio was everything. Now, I just want to find all the audio logs and look at the pretty art. I've definitely slid down that Explorer diagonal.
And that leads to a really provocative question to leave everyone with. Does your gaming style change because your real-world personality changed first?
Or is it the other way around? Is the game the one place where we're actually honest? Maybe the peacemaker at work is only peaceful because they have to be, but you give them a controller and that inner killer finally comes out. Maybe the game is the only clean mirror we have.
The mask comes off when the game loads. It's a scary thought, but the data suggests there's a lot of truth in it.
So, to everyone listening, think back to the first game you really loved. What were you? A killer, an achiever, and then look at what you played last week. Did you cross that X? The answer might tell you more about yourself than any personality quiz ever could.
Happy gaming?
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.